Chapter 4. It was a mistake, Sierra said. How many times had she said those words already? How many more times would she have to say them? She was afraid. She cried if she tried to explain the risk. Miss Lynn finally helped her out. She says the knife was in her mother's lunch and the lunches got switched. Sierra let herself glance at Mr. Besser. She said, never seen him this way before, as if he had somehow stumbled into a blind trap. He was obviously stalling to give himself time to think about what to do next. Look, he finally said, I can't deal with this now. Mr. Granger has given up his afternoon, taking time out of his busy schedule to come meet me. Miss Lynn, call Sierra's parents and explain what's happened. Tell them that they need to come and get her and that I'll meet with them first thing in the morning. Sarah wanted to say, but what about my science lab? She didn't. Sierra wanted to ask, but why do you have to have a meeting with my parents when this is obviously just a terrible mistake? She didn't. Maybe the other principal would give some kind of chuckle. It would become a friendly joke. A joke partly on Mr. Besser for just having said all that stuff about mandatory expulsion with no exceptions ever for weapons or drugs or in his middle school. And partly on Sierra for having gotten herself caught up in such a ridiculous mess. The two men disappeared into the inner office and the door shut behind them. Should I try your father first or your mother? Miss Lynn asked Sierra. Can I go to 8th period for my science lab? For an answer, Miss Lynn picked up the receiver and poised her finger ready to dial. My mother, Sierra said. She gave Miss Lynn the number and Miss Lynn made the call. Sierra's mother didn't really work. Well, she thought she did, but the kind of things she did all day didn't seem like an actual job to Sierra. Her mother was trying to write plays. No one was paying her money to write them. She just writing them because she wanted to. She took it seriously. She went to the playwriting group and she entered playwriting contest. She had gotten an honorable mention in a contest last year. Sometimes to make a little bit of money. She substituted in Sierra's former preschool. That's where her mother had gone today with the wrong lunch bag. Had her mother even noticed that she had taken Sierra's lunch? Had she thought to herself, wait, what about the knife? Apparently not. Her mother didn't notice things like that. Her father did. Just as the dismissal bell rang, Sierra's mother came bursting into the office, coatless despite the January weather, her frizzy hair standing out from her head like a wild halo. The first thing she did was gather Sierra into a hug, holding her so close that Sierra could feel her mother's heart throbbing. I'm sorry, I couldn't come sooner, she told Sierra. There was no one else to watch the children. Sierra couldn't help herself. A gulping sob shook her shoulders. It had been too awful. Kept out of all her afternoon classes, the way Miss Lynn had called her Missy. The terrible trap looked in Mr. Besser's eyes as if he might really be ready to expel her for one tiny infinitesimal moment of careless as she had grabbed her lunch off the kitchen counter. Her mother held Sierra for a long moment. Then she turned to Miss Lynn. We cannot wait until tomorrow morning to speak to Mr. Besser. I need to see him now. I'm afraid that's impossible, Miss Lynn said, making a big show of busying herself at her computer. Mr. Besser is in a meeting. Where is his meeting? Miss Lynn didn't answer. He's in his office, isn't he? I'm sorry, Miss Lynn, but he is not sending this poor child home to worry about this ridiculousness all night long. Sarah had never seen her mother so angry. Before Miss Lynn had time to leap up and block the door, if she would have done such a thing, which Sierra doubted, even on the bizarrely Topsy-turvy day. Sierra's mother had pushed her way into the inner office. "Stop," Miss Lynn called after her. "You can't just barge in there like that." Sarah didn't follow after her mother. She couldn't bear to see the kindly, affectionate light gone from Mr. Besser's eyes when he looked at her. She lowered herself back down onto the hard plastic chair where she had already spent her long, miserable afternoon. 2 minutes later, her mother was back, eyes flaming, cheeks burning. "Let's go," she told Sierra. Then she turned to Miss Lynn. "Sarah's father and I will see you tomorrow." Even if Sierra's mother couldn't fix this hideous mess, her father could. Her father had to.